back then, everything we got today came the hard way, just little by little. You know, when we started out, we was getting a raise every 2 years, I think. No, every 2 months when you hired in. I know I was getting $21 a week, and then they come out with a program the government did, and they made up the difference between what you was making and $50 a week. So I got a $29 raise in 1 week, the biggest raise I ever saw in my life. That was big money back then. But
did you ever know the phone company to financially struggle, At&t?
Never.
They've always paid good dividends.
They always have.
They've always taken care of their people. You had to fight with them.
Yeah.
But afterwards you made up and we got back to work and did the job, didn't we?
They paid a dividend during the Depression.
Yes.
They always did. They've always made it. But about contract time, they go broke, you know.
Yeah, it was a big one too.
They go broke.
Was you proud to work for Indiana Bell?
Yeah, I was, because it was a respectable job. When we went to the coffee shop, we sat with the doctors and the lawyers. But we, just inch by inch, got all our benefits finally paid for. We got them to where they was half paid for and 3/4, and finally got them all paid.
And we're talking 50, 60 years to get all that done, and now they're wanting to take it away.
Yeah, we worked all that time to get it. It came hard, little by little, every contract. And same with the pension. Our pension was terrible for a long time. It just wasn't worth taking, hardly. And we worked hard on that to get the pension to where it was decent. It's not real good yet, but with the circumstances we're in right now, we all got to rethink the whole thing. It has to be rethought. It's not the same as it used to be. Yeah. You know, it used to, if you could whip your boss, you could keep your job. It's not that way anymore.
No, there'd be a lot of fighting going on.
Okay.
What can you tell the membership today to help them get through this?
Well, the best thing to do is stick together, help each other. You know.
Amen.
I can remember back during the strike, 8 weeks, we were painting houses, doing everything. We'd help each other get a job if we had a job someplace, you know. And we'd help each other out, work together, trim trees, whatever we had to do to stay afloat. Because we was all young and had young families.
And the same today.
Yeah. And we had house payments just like everybody's got today. And we had a tough way to go. 8 weeks is a long time without a paycheck when you don't have much saved.
Was it worth it?
Oh yeah, it's worth it. I enjoyed my job all my lifetime at the telephone company, except for the last 3 years. And I was in a hurry to leave, because I had made a bulldozer and a dump truck, and I was wanting to go to work for myself. And that's why I wanted out.
Now, when you did retire after 31 years, though, you was voted in as the local president, and you still stayed on as president.
Well, I was voted in 2 years before I retired, and I stayed in.
Yes.
And but I was in union work for 20-some years. But my brother and those guys is the ones that really put it together. I just took over and held it together for a while. But
Tough job, though. Remember talking about all the guys that retired and died young?
oh yeah.
That's one reason Carl got out early, what, 52?
Yeah, Johnny Johnson, you know, he used to say, I'm going to get out of here. That front door can hit me right in the butt, but I'm leaving. And he died at 62. Didn't quite make it.
Sandy Adcox, Jim Merritt, a bunch of them, wasn't there?
Early retirement's the best way to go if you can arrange for it. But you have to start early and prepare.
What do you feel about mobilization?
Well, it's always been a good deal, a good idea. I really believe in it, I think. And the public opinion right now, you have to tread softly, because everybody in the world is mad at the union. You know, they're blaming General Motors' failure on the unions, and you know, you've heard the talk. And we're not as popular as we was at one time, due to the way the economy turned on us. But unions has never caused these high prices. been poor management. And I think someday unions are going to have to be part of that management. Somehow or other, they're going to have to work out a system where they're part of the decision making. Because had we had one at General Motors right now, a good union president would have run that company. And that guy threw it in the dirt.
And I think that's where, not mobilization, but where we're strong is because we're shareholders, and a lot of guys go through the obstacles and roadblocks to do their job every day. We face it every day out here as a working man, but we want to do the job right for our customers, so we do that, go the extra mile.
And you
always have.
You can't pay a man enough, no way to make him happy. But you give him a little bit of dignity and a decent job, and he's proud of himself, and then he's happy.
Well said.
Well said.
You can't give him enough money to make him happy. Money won't do it. I was always proud to be a good telephone man. Wasn't near as smart as some of them. Wouldn't have been if I'd have stayed till now, probably. But I was proud of my job. I worked hard every day, too. I had to work hard because I was always in there, right in the middle of their face with union work. If I had been a bad employee, they'd have fired me a long time ago. I think they would have.
Oh, man.
But I tell you, first pride in your work. That's the reason. That's what I meant when I said you can't pay a man enough money. You've got to give him a little dignity and a little pride in his work, and then he'll perform. He'll do a good job, and he'll be proud of himself, proud of his job.
And that's what we're trying to get back now, our respect.
Yeah.
And they're not giving that to us.
No, they're not. Not when they lie to you like they do. And you know, Jack Killinger was about second line in the company. He always handled all the third step grievances and everything. And Jack and I started out, we didn't like each other at all. We both smoked a pipe. I remember coming to a meeting one time, he'd thump his pipe in the ashtray, and he'd start to talk and I'd thump mine. And when he started again, I'd thump it louder. And then he got up and he walked around the table, and I got up and walked around the table. And pretty soon he looked over at me and he just laughed right out loud. He said, "That's smoke, Carl." And you know, we worked out an agreement, not an agreement, wasn't no deals made or nothing, but there was an other understanding where I respected him and he respected me. And he told me one time, he said, "If you've got a serious problem, just call me. I'll talk to you." That's the truth. And it was just mutual respect for each other. Because I learned that I could trust him and he knew he could trust me. Because he said, "I can tell whether we've won or lost when you walk into the grievance meeting." But he said, "If that suitcase comes down the yard of that table, I know you've got a good one."
The difference today, Carl, first and second line can't make a decision anymore.
No.
It's left to the labor department because the lawyers are running the company.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's hard to get anything done with management anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. We settled a lot of stuff locally that you have to settle clear at the state level now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We settled it right in Anderson, you know.
Six years ago we could do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not in this day and age.
No, they put the first lines in a bad situation.
They have.
Yeah. I was a steward for years and years. What we called a unit chairman back then. Handled all of the stewards and a lot of the complaints, everything. And then I was vice president, I don't know how many times, and president when I left. But it was hard work, but like you might give me some credit, I give it to my brother and Charlie Gunther and Johnny Johnson and those guys that fought through the mud.
We give it to all of you.
But
You carried the torch.
they did the hard part. I mean, you was gambling when you drove to Terre Haute to pick up one member, you know, because if they knew what you'd done, you was fired on the spot. So you do have to have a union. You got to have some protection. Because if you didn't, they'd just run roughshod over you. But on the other hand, we have to be honest with them, give them a good day's work. I used to have a sign hanging someplace in one of my offices. and said, give 8 hours work for 8 hours pay. Fight like hell if they try to take that away. I believed in giving the company a good day's work. I always worked hard.
What do you think about the CEO pay that these companies make now?
Oh, it's terrible. That's awful.
Our CEO was making $27 million a year. Now our CEO now only makes $15 million. He took a $3 million pay cut, so he's just making $15 million a year.
He'll starve dead, won't he? You know, you got to hang in there, you guys.